Hey everybody, welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a much anticipated Switch 2 upgrade. And is China really going to save us from Ramageddon? We'll find out. It's going to be a good one because we have Jan Ochoa on the show. Jan, how are you doing?
I am doing okay, Grubb. Perfectly okay.
Yeah, I'm same. It's busy in a bunch of ways. Steph was in Switzerland last week. Now she's actually in SF right now.
Oh,
so yeah, she's doing some work out there. But she'll be home here in a couple of days, and we'll get things back to normal. Although then I have a bunch of travel here coming up soon. So yeah, it's busy, but it's good. The kids have been really great. We're playing a lot of Minecraft. That's continues to be a lot of fun.
lovely.
Yeah, but how you doing otherwise? You got any like games you're into right now? Anything like that?
As far as games, Grubb, I think playing Overwatch yesterday with Mikey was bad for me because then I continued to play more Overwatch by myself. Still playing a little bit of Deadlock. All of these games. There's another game that I should finish at this point. That has occupied some time, and there are other games coming out on the horizon. But Grubb, the thing I want to talk about real quick. Last week I ran 3 miles straight through, and I had a terrible time. Yesterday I did the same thing, completely fine. We're building up we're building up the lungs, we're building up the legs. We're a machine, Grubb.
So you're seeing results through consistency? That doesn't sound right.
I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if people have thought about this.
Yeah, I think you might have. Is this one of them hacks? This is one of the hacks that people are doing.
Is one of them hacks.
Okay.
If you do something a lot, it gets easier.
All right, Jan, can I ask you a personal and maybe sensitive question about this journey you're on?
I think I know where you're going, but go ahead.
Okay, we'll see. Look, you're doing a lot of effort. You're making a lot of efforts and making a lot of gains, a lot of self-improvement. You're taking it seriously.
Uh-huh.
Have you had the conversation with yourself about caffeine?
No.
I was thinking of like today. I'm like, man, I chug this stuff down. I need to start thinking about it. And then I did think about you. And I'm like, I think I saw like one of your posts or something about like, getting fit and all that stuff. I'm like, I wonder how Jan's handling the whole coffee thing with this. Cause it's like, caffeine, it has its place, but I drink a lot of it, Jan. I don't know what I'm going to do about it.
It's bad. I switched to like this like thermos every morning instead of a cup because this holds 2 cups.
It's, what's pre-workout? Is pre-workout just mostly caffeine?
From my understanding, it is just straight up caffeine. That is something I don't partake in because I already drink a lot of caffeine. And I say that, and then I'm also going to share that most times before I run or go to the gym, I will drink a Celsius. And a Celsius does also have caffeine. But the way they market it makes me feel better about myself, Grubb.
Yeah, but they do also like, I think Celsius is the one where it's like, don't worry, there's 200 milligrams of caffeine in here. Like we'll tell you straight up, like you're gonna get what you need from this. But then it's a pretty drink. Like it looks nice. It can't hurt me.
I will say, I did shotgun one once, and afterwards I felt like I could fight God, but because of how Celsius cans they look very similar to White Claw cans.
Yeah, they do.
And an officer of the law saw me shotgunning a Celsius out in public and stopped me because he thought I was drinking alcohol in public. I showed him the Celsius can, and then I think he was more scared.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, okay, this is bad. They're out here with their 200 milligrams of caffeine. Pete in chat says legal pre-workout is basically just caffeine, but questionable pre-workout is the good stuff. I'm going to investigate. I need to see what's going on.
Grubb, you and I are the last people that should ever get into pre-workout.
I don't need. Yes, absolutely, do not need to touch it. But it has piqued my curiosity for sure. So okay, I think we've broached the subject now, Jan. We'll check back in a few months and see if like we've had any sort of time to look inward and reflect about coffee and caffeine.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Just drink more water, maybe.
That's true. That offsets it. That undoes
Right,
any damage, I
right.
think. I believe so. Let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb. We're independent video game internet doofuses. We like to make stuff, but we need your help because that aforementioned independent part, we don't have a corporation backing us. We have you. Many of you have gone to giantbomb.com/join, became a premium member, and that is making this whole thing go around, and we appreciate it, and we are so thankful to everyone who has done that. If you want to join those ranks, you should. It will get you ad-free shows. It's going to get you a lot of extra special goodies. Grubb Snacks Premium, a new episode went up yesterday. Mike has been doing work to get another premium show up and running with Abby. That's going to be dropping here when we're ready. Look out, everybody. Things are happening. Look out. And we'll have more to announce here pretty soon. I'm mixing up a bunch of shows. Mike's actually got another one he's working on. So, yeah. Now's the time to join, get in on the ground floor, and let's ensure the future, a safe and secure future for independent games media so we can keep doing all this.
So we can all feel cheery, we can all feel happy, we can all feel merry about the whole situation around us.
Exactly. Looking forward to it, everybody. All right. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Nintendo is finally giving a Xenoblade Chronicles game the Switch 2 treatment. It has happened, everybody. This is from Chris Compendio at GameSpot. Ever since Nintendo began releasing upgrades of its first-party Switch titles for Switch 2, fans have been clamoring for refreshed editions of the Xenoblade Chronicles games on the new console. And the company seems to be aware of the demand, shadow dropping a Switch 2 version for Xenoblade Chronicles X, which was among the most requested, I believe, on the eShop today. That's out. It's now. The clumsily titled Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition dash Nintendo Switch 2 Edition sports a frame rate of up to 60 frames per second on TV and handheld modes with a max 4K resolution docked and 1080p undocked. It's available for digital purchase now. The upgrade pack for players with the original game, so it is going to have a cost, is $5. With a full Switch 2 game now retailing, if you want to get it straight up for the Switch 2, for $65. So they're just going to build that cost in there. Okay, yeah. People have been asking for this. It sounds like it's mostly a performance update. I think people were like wondering what was taking so long here. And I wonder if the thing that was taking them so long is figuring out exactly how they wanted to approach charging people money for this, because it is like, okay, well, it's a performance patch and that's $5. I don't know. People have been demanding it so much. Maybe that's worth it. I don't know. What do you think?
I think for $5, if you already have the base game, I don't think that's too much or too steep of an ask, Grubb, especially because this is a game that folks are going to spend more than 50 hours in. And in fact, I think with Xenoblade Chronicles X, I think I remember Jake Decker saying that the game doesn't really start until you reach 50 plus hours in. So if you have to pay an additional $5 to upgrade the game, but the game runs at a much more stable pace, I think that is an okay exchange to make. I know I personally held off because I think when Xenoblade Chronicles X came out on the Switch, it came out at a very busy time of the year. And not that this time isn't any less busy, but I am more inclined to go check it out now. That being said, I really want Xenoblade Chronicles 3 to get that Switch 2 treatment. But if this got that, Grubb, I think that means that perhaps we will get more of these Switch 2 upgrades in the horizon.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep at it. I think that's been the word, that's been the reporting, is they're working on a lot of these, so expect quite a few. And yeah, I'm definitely split. I think, it doesn't seem like it's worthy of $5, and yet someone points out in chat, like, remember how Nintendo treated the Wii U to Switch pipeline, where it was like we weren't getting refined versions of those games. Now, there was no backward compatibility there, so that's the big difference. So they're porting the games. It required a lot more work. But if you already own the game, you could get a slightly better version on the Switch for a full price. Like you have to buy the game again entirely. You had to get Super Mario 3D World, and you had to buy that again. Now they added extra features and stuff to justify that, but still, it's like I'm glad that they are doing it this way. If the alternative is just releasing it again as a Switch 2 version with maybe some extra stuff to justify us having to spend $60 again, and yet $5 for performance improvement, especially in this case where it might be a little weird because we did hear at the time that people found code in the game that would unlock the frame rate. And it's like, well, isn't it just that simple to flip on a switch? And it's like, I always got to stop myself and be like, it's probably not that simple. So this probably did involve them going in there and doing labor. And yet it's the kind of stuff that I just feel like, I don't know. I don't feel great about the price. But if the alternative is them not doing this at all, so be it. I will likely pay up often. Although in this case, I'm not a Xenoblade guy, so I probably won't show up for this one. But I know the Xenoblade people will.
Yes, indeed they will, Grubb. The other games that I'm curious if Nintendo will circle back around to is perhaps Fire Emblem Three Houses. And I played a lot of that game, and I don't necessarily feel like I need to check back up on it. But if that was an option, I might get back into the dormitories and party with the gang over there.
Yeah, I think they'll probably just do all the rest of the Xenoblade games here now going forward. This one's shadow dropping, kind of out of nowhere. They've done that with these before. Still feels like okay, they're gonna get this out of the way and continue on doing this with the rest of the Xenoblade games and a bunch more Nintendo Switch 1 games. They've done a lot. There's still a lot left over that they could give this treatment to. Mm-hmm. All right. Todd Howard claims the majority of Bethesda of that studio are on Elder Scrolls 6, but also don't expect Starfield 2.0 soon. This is from Jordan Midler at VGC. Bethesda Game Studios director Todd Howard has claimed that the majority of the studio is currently working on the Elder Scrolls 6. Speaking to Kind of Funny Games, Howard said that the game was going well and that the team is happy with it. However, Howard then followed that by saying it's going to be a while yet. The game was first announced in 2018. We're able to play the game. We're about to pass a big milestone internally, Howard said. The majority of the studio is on that game, and some of our partners. A release date for the Elder Scrolls 6 or even a release window hasn't been shared, though Howard has spoken more openly about the project in the last year. Elsewhere in the interview, Howard addressed reports that new content will be coming to Starfield soon. He says it is not Starfield 2.0. I've seen some of that. So for expectations setting, it's the kind of thing where if you love Starfield, we think you're going to love this. Rumors have persisted for some time that a PlayStation 5 version of the game is on the way. Howard was also asked about the Fallout series, despite the game's TV adaptation continuing to do well both critically and commercially. A new single-player entry in the franchise hasn't been released since 2015. He said, it's understandable when these big franchises people love, people want brand new experiences. He said, we're working on stuff. There's a time to announce that we have irons in the fire. Man, can never say that word. When pushed on how many Fallout games the company is working on, Howard reaffirmed that multiple games are coming. I bet that's, Fallout 3 remake, similar to Oblivion. Yes, yeah, Oblivion. That's probably happening. And then a new game is probably happening. But what does that look like? How long does that take? Who knows? Okay. So let's start with Elder Scrolls 6. Most of the studio's working on it. It's still going to take a long while. Not too much of a shift in our perception of like where that game is at, right? This is what we expected.
Yeah, ever since this is one of those instances, Grubb, where I feel like it was probably a major disservice to the team and the game to announce it so early. Just because there's already the perception that video game development is going to take a long time. But now that you've announced it and put it out into the world, people are just going to be very annoying and persistent about it. But for the rest of the team to shift their focus onto Elder Scrolls 6 makes complete sense. I personally have never been the biggest Elder Scrolls fan, but I do appreciate the audience's fervor for it particularly our own Mike Minotti and Chuck Zimmerheld, how much they love dem scrolls.
Yeah, I don't know if Mike does actually love it, because he was when I was talking about the console command thing, he's just like, nah, I don't get it, and it's very much his like the Smash Brothers thing for everyone else, where he's like, no, you guys don't play as much as I do, so you don't get it. I don't think he truly appreciates Elder Scrolls. All right, let's see here. What else did they Starfield 2.0? I'm surprised it's not Starfield 2.0, and like. It must be like continue to be like part of their original plan for ongoing support, and they're delivering that still, and that's like holding them back from doing a full revamp. But I don't know. What do you think that they should be doing with Starfield?
I actually don't know at all what the focus or priorities should be with Starfield, Grubb. That is a release that completely missed me. Just wasn't interested in it at all, and I feel like upon its initial release, kind of, I don't want to say fell flat, but mixed reviews for sure. Eventually warmed up to a couple people. I don't know if it has the juice to get a lot of people back and interested in a 2.0 release. I know that you've been checking out that Star Wars mod, and if anything, I'm more interested in that rather than like anything new straight from Bethesda. If anything, I'm more interested in potential mods for it.
Yeah, him saying like, if you love Starfield, we're doing more of that. It's okay. I just thought you might be a little bit more concerned with winning over that audience that didn't love the game, because that's a larger portion of the audience, it seems like.
Yeah, especially if they're gonna like try and have a port go to the PS5. I think you would want something slightly brand spanking new over there versus more Starfield.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Anything else from this worth?
I'm just surprised that they haven't I know that flipping game development around is difficult, but I feel like they had to have known that the Fallout TV show would be good, or at least they had to have known that of the production of the Fallout show, and with all of this Amazon money attached, that it could be okay. It could take off. So I'm a little bit surprised that there still hasn't been any type of major adjustments to make another Fallout game other than just like kind of putting new paint on existing Fallout games, especially with just how popular the general audience is for Fallout, and them learning like, oh, this is a game series? Cool, let me go check it out. And it isn't the easiest thing, or at least the translation isn't one-to-one.
Yeah, I think it's, if anything, it illustrates just how difficult it is to make things happen in games these days, where it's like, we need to be able to react fast to the shifting reality on the ground. Fallout is now one of the hottest properties, not just in games, but in media. What can we do about that? And it's like, not much. We just can't do much about that at all.
Yeah, it's a similar story with the Twisted Metal show, which I feel like has been a quiet success. At least in our circles. I think they're on, if they didn't already air season 2, I think they're about to have a third season of the show, which is wild. But yeah, Grubb, I'm curious, would folks out there at all be interested in like a Telltale Dispatch style Fallout game? Would that be up anyone's alley?
I think they could get away with that as long as people knew real new Fallout is coming.
Yeah.
If this was like, and then we're also doing this, the Silent Hill method right now of, hey, here's the remake, here's a new game, here's another new game, here's something different, here's one from Annapurna. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, and everyone's like, well, Silent Hill F was so good, and Silent Hill 2 remake was so good, you have a lot of leeway right now, and they would need something along those lines to be able to be able to deliver that without people being like, this is not what we were talking about when we said we wanted more Fallout. More from this interview. The Elder Scrolls 6 will use an upgraded version of Starfield in Skyrim's game engine. This is from Thomas Franzes at GameSpot. Bethesda's Todd Howard has reaffirmed that the Elder Scrolls 6 will use Creation Engine 3, which is different from the Starfield one. That was Creation Engine 2. But of course, as always, these tools are just refined over a long period of time. It's still going to be one of those games, and I don't know if anyone should have ever been expecting anything else. That they were never really going to be like, let's completely scrap the way we've made games and go full into like Unreal Engine or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Grubb, someone brings it up in the chat. Lays Sugum posits, how is Capcom releasing 3 Resident Evils every year and everyone needs 2 decades to make one game? And I think that's just tied to these very hyper-specific studio video game engines, right? Like, the RE engine has worked for Capcom in such a way that they can make tweaks and improvements to not churn out, but like flip.
And that was a recent investment, relatively speaking. That was a recent investment. They dropped their previous engine, which was, I can't remember, the Net Framework or something like that. They dropped that and moved to this and made a big investment and decided to do that in like the last 10 years. And a lot of these other studios are either using engines that are run by someone else or is their own engine that they've had for 25 years or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
MT Framework. Thank you, chat.
So, I'm sure a lot of this is adapting an engine to kind of like future-proof it and just be able to get more talent to work on the game. But it just makes the black box of video game development more mysterious for me, Grubb, just looking on the outside.
Yeah, agreed. I'm glad he's out here talking about this stuff. I do really love the Elder Scrolls games, and I love the Fallout games, and I want to see them be able to kind of get back into get their groove back a little bit. And Elder Scrolls 6 does feel like an opportunity to do that, but also it feels like an opportunity for them to just be like, we are fully stuck in our ways, and we have not been able to sort of grow and change with the times. And the feeling you have about Starfield is the feeling you might have about all of our games going forward, because they just aren't advancing in all the right ways. So it's this huge opportunity to kind of like prove the haters wrong, or to sort of have this resurgence. And I bet they want to get it right. I'm sure they're well aware of most of that perception. Yeah. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, plenty more headlines to get into. We might hear about Sony Santa Monica's new game here pretty soon. We'll talk about that. We'll get to all that after these messages. If you want to skip out on these ads, go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member. There you can find the ad-free version of the audio and video show. In the meantime, we will be right back. It's Game S Mornings. We're back. Jeff Grubb, Jan Ochoa. Let's make this happen with this next story. The God of War Kratos actor says fans will hear about what we're doing this summer. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. God of War actor Christopher Judge has claimed that his next game will be announced this summer, fueling speculation that it could be Santa Monica Studios' next big project. Judge, who plays Kratos in the modern God of War titles, was talking to a streamer at Fan Expo in Vancouver, Canada, who asked the actor about the recently announced God of War Trilogy remake. It's not clear if Judge is aware that the conversation was being recorded. Judge confirmed that he won't be appearing in the Trilogy remake, since original Kratos actor T.C. Carson will be reprising his role. As announced in a recent State of Play live stream, according to Judge, the remake will feature a new fighting system. And then you'll be hearing about what we're doing probably in late summer. That's the quote right there. While he did not clarify who this comment was in relation to, the context of the conversation has led many to assume Judge is referring to God of War developer Sony Santa Monica, or Santa Monica Studio. The PlayStation developer's last major project was 2022's God of War Ragnarok. Creative director Cory Barlog, who helmed 2018's God of War, but stepped aside for the sequel, is understood to be working on an unannounced project. And Sony Santa Monica is currently celebrating God of War's 20th anniversary. Okay. So, yeah, he's, being asked about what's going on here, and then you'll be hearing about what we're doing probably in late summer. Are we to assume that he is talking about Cory Barlog's new game, and is he on that game as well? Like, he's the God of War voice actor. There's no reason to assume that he's going to be playing a character in the new different game that has nothing to do with God of War, right?
Yeah, and Grubb, I think this is hilarious how voice actors are, specifically in the video game industry. It's like, gang, y'all know how long you work with these devs. You work and see, you've done work, and you know that this work will not come out until several years later.
Mm-hmm.
So it just astounds me that it's not just Christopher Judge here. And, God bless Christopher Judge. He's just very excited. He's very attached to the series at this point. I think he's great as Kratos. But it's just so funny that the concept of an NDA escapes all of these voice actors, because there was the Xeno Saga or Xenogears leak we saw, and other voice actors talking about their work like it doesn't matter or none of this stuff is sensitive information. But I could perhaps see this leading to a Sony Santa Monica reveal as to what Cory Balrog has been working on for the last couple of years this summer. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Barlog and that team were like, it is a different game, different universe. Let's make sure that we keep Judge employed because we like working with him a lot, and he's been very good for the promotion of that game. Like when he shows up, people get excited and stuff like that. I think the assumption is that Barlog's not working on a God of War game. So that is why it's a little bit like tricky. It's like, what is he? Maybe he's talking about some other God of War thing that is happening separate from the remake, separate from all this other stuff. We'll find out later this summer. They'll probably have some other state of play, maybe even like a showcase following up the Summer Game Fest time. We'll see. The other thing we're talking about here, though, is apparently he has some insight into the remakes of the original God of War trilogy, which he's not involved in. Mm-hmm. That is TC Carson. But he has some insight there where he says it's going to have a new fighting system. It better not.
Yeah.
No, I want those games again. And I want them to play like those games. I'm concerned here. What this means is it is the God of War 1, 2, and 3, but now they play like God of War 2018. Which, like, those are good games. God of War 2018 is a good game. There's a reason I am craving the original God of Wars. That should I be concerned here, Jan?
I hope this is just a quote or a conversation taken out of context, and maybe what Judge perhaps means, or what we can parse out, is there are quality of life changes versus completely rehauling the combat, because I think Sony and PlayStation have to be aware that there are people out there that have a fondness for the original God of War trilogy because of how it controls, and that it wouldn't serve anyone to completely change that up to adapt the 2018 control style.
Yeah, I just, it's so easy to hear someone say something and to extrapolate into the exact thing that would give me the most anxiety about what this game could be.
Yeah.
The way they are positioning it, though, is like 1, 2, 3 trilogy remake. It does sound like they are doing a lot of work to like change how this game behaves, and maybe making it into like one continuous experience that is 1, 2, and 3. And if that's the case, it's like, yeah, they could make a lot of changes. But yeah, I'm just not sure exactly what to expect. And I wonder if internally at PlayStation they're like, hey, we have to make it play more like the modern ones, because that is what will get people to show up to buy the game. I don't know if they should believe that, but I wonder if that is what they believe.
I don't know why that would come up in conversation or come up as a thought, Grubb, because like I feel like you don't get to God of War 2018 without the foundation of that original series. And like those two games are those games are a fork in my head in terms of controls, because like, 2018 is a different game than those original ones. So it makes sense to have a different control style. Also, they're going for something radically different. Tones are radically different, among other things in those games. Yep,
I'm not sure. We'll see. This thing's still a long ways off. It sounds like they are still just kind of getting things started. So we probably won't get anything from this game for a couple of years again. So we'll see.
That being said, hey, put Christopher Judge in more things, because like
fun.
The man's voice, great. And like you said, Grubb, he champions a game very, very well.
A good ambassador. Yeah, absolutely. And then I would like to see him and TC Carson in a game together. So maybe they can work on the Cory Barlog project together. Get the new Kratos, old Kratos, let them kind of talk back and forth. That would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That could be
Yeah.
cool. That could be really cool, actually.
That'd be neat. Yeah, they both have a lot of swagger and stuff like that. So it'd be fun to have those characters butting heads or something like that. Whatever they would be, that'd be neat. All right, Kristen Bell will be Amy in Sonic the Hedgehog 4. This is from Eric Hiddleback Furu at Game Reactor. One of the post-credit scenes in the third Sonic the Hedgehog movie revealed that Amy will finally be joining the team in the fourth movie, but it did, just like the other teases in previous movies, not include her talking. So who could be voicing Sonic's pink friend? Now we know. Ben Schwartz, the voice of Sonic in the movies, has confirmed the rumors that Kristen Bell will be the voice of Amy in Sonic the Hedgehog 4. This is definitely not her first time voice acting. She is Anna in Frozen.
Oh, yeah.
And now also Amy in Sonic the Hedgehog. That's a good get. I like Kristen Bell. She's one of those celebrities that I bet a lot of people hate. But it's just because I don't know. Some of the celebrities just have an attitude of like, here's all the other things going on in my life, and I don't think people respond to that too well. But I like her and always have. But I'm a Veronica Mars fan, so that's a big part of it.
Likewise, Grubb. Always been a fan of Kristen Bell. Definitely. I think I've enjoyed almost everything she's been in.
Yeah.
And I think this is just adding the only thing I don't like about this, Grubb, is that this gives Dax Shepard more money to just sit in his stupid fucking studio and continue doing his weirdo podcast.
It's a weird podcast, yeah.
Yeah. There are some conversations and some interviews I think have been great and are good. Most of the time, just not my cup of tea. But Kristen Bell's got to be raking it in at this point, because not only do you have like her like movie career and like her television career, but you're getting those Disney residuals, Grubb. And now you're going to be getting those Sonic residuals. And I know residuals for some actors are like hit and miss, but if you are like on the top tier of voice talent, you have got to be doing okay.
Yep. And these Sonic movies feel like they are going to do okay for forever. I think every generation of Sonic fans going forward is going to like latch onto these movies in a big way. Especially that third one. It's so good. It's like this true masterpiece of working with brands and comedy and comedic actors and just letting them sort of do their thing while also still being true to, for the most part, to the core like Sonic ethos. It's a fun time. I should watch that movie again.
Do you think she's gonna sing?
I bet so. I'm not like maybe not a huge musical number, but I bet she'll be a musical character,
Sure. Also, Grubb, this just opens the door for more spinoffs. I know that we had that Paramount Plus Knuckles show.
Right.
This is definitely going to lead to an Amy the Hedgehog side series, even maybe a side movie or whatever. Just because, hey, they know that Sonic not only appeals to all of the kids, it specifically appeals to the dumb boys. Now we got a pink one, which will appeal to the girls.
Yep, and they definitely know what they're doing with that stuff in the Sonic world, so they'll be able to do that with the movie. You're right, like a TV spinoff or something like that. That feels like the Sonic movie universe can go on for forever, right? Like the fact that they're just now introducing Amy, it's like there's all these other characters yet to come that they could latch onto and like mix them up in a bunch of different ways. Where it's like now it's this movie's more about Amy and Shadow interacting with one another, and the movies do just keep making more money each time, I think. So yeah. What do you think?
Grubb, I mean, there's several characters from the games that we could introduce. There's the whole Espio, Charmy the Bee, Vector the Alligator gang. But then, no, we did get Metal Sonic, right? We did in the third.
Oh, yeah, we did. One of them, yeah.
But then there's the comics, the Archie style comics that you could introduce. Get Sally Acorns up in this. Rouge the Bat.
Was Rouge Rouge has not been teased yet, right?
No.
Did I dream that? Not that I'm dreaming about Rouge the Bat, everybody, but I thought I could have been tricked by something. I just assumed that happened.
Here's my casting for Rouge the Bat: Lady Gaga.
That is inspired. That has to happen now. Holy moly, that would be amazing.
Paramount, cut the check, and then put all of us in a Sonic movie, please.
Oh yeah, we gotta be. Can we please be Chows?
Please let us be Chows.
we'd be such good chows. That would be amazing.
Kill us off immediately, but let us be chows.
Right. Just give it. I don't even need a speaking line. I just want to make noises.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Or let us be like, I'll be SBO, Grubb will be Vector, Mikey will be Charmy the Bee, Dan will just be Dan.
Dan will just be Dan as another human in the movie, right next to Cyclops. Okay, perfect. I want to be Big the Cat. Is Big the Cat in there yet?
No, he's not.
Okay. Ben Starr as Big the Cat is actually right. Mecha Robot. That's good.
Oh. I love Ben Starr, but Samoa Joe as Big the Cat.
Oh, that is. Yep. Oh man. Okay. Yeah. I'm falling more in love with these Sonic movies, so I'm all aboard.
Someone get me into casting.
Yeah. Hey, casting director Jan Ochoa has a nice sound to it, nice ring to it. Let's keep going. Those Monster Hunter Wilds on Switch 2 rumors refuse to go away. New data mined evidence adds fuel to the fire. This is from Dom Pepiot at Eurogamer. Do you have a sense of deja vu? Because data miners believe they've discovered more evidence that Monster Hunter Wilds could be coming to Nintendo Switch 2. A sentence we've already typed out here on Eurogamer in the year 2026. We're back on familiar ground following the release of a massive update for Capcom's latest action RPG this week, in which the Japanese publisher unleashed a flood of new content into the game to tide us all over until the next big DLC drop comes, which we're apparently going to hear more about in the summer. As part of this big final update, sleuths digging through the game's newly updated code think that they've found and unearthed more evidence that the game has a Switch 2 version in the works, in the form of a tutorial image depicting Switch 2 local multiplayer. So the image is just 4 people sitting in a circle, all huddled around, putting their Switch 2s right next to each other, playing Monster Hunter Wilds together in a local multiplayer setting, something that is very traditional to this series. And not surprising to see it. It's like, of course, they're going to want to do that. That, all the stuff lines up here. We don't need these leaks, Jan, to have these rumors because Monster Hunter popular everywhere. Monster Hunter very popular in Japan. Nintendo Switch far more popular in Japan than any other platform. And the Monster Hunter works really well as a portable game. Switch 2 is portable. Like all these things just line up. Also, Capcom has just publicly said they are very interested in supporting Switch 2 with all of their games, and they're making big efforts. Like Pragmata is coming to Switch 2. The one caveat here has been performance, and it does sound like they've improved performance quite a bit, even before that weird DLC check thing popped up and was causing issues, right? So I think if that is no longer a big hang-up and will prevent this game from running on Switch 2 in an acceptable way, it has to happen, right?
Yeah, and I feel like it'd be a huge return to form, Grubb, because a lot of my friends originally played the Monster Hunter games on, was it the DS or 3DS?
3DS was a bunch. There was a bunch on. There's like one of the fan faves is on 3DS. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of my friends would just like huddle up in my living room, ignore me, and play Monster Hunter together on their 3DSs. So I feel like this would be pretty big, specifically in Japan, Grubb, for to get to the Switch 2, people to just party up locally and go on hunts together. Yep,
I you can kind of see it, and I would be interested. I might just go back to Rise though, because that one seems a little bit more my speed, and I know the fans really like going back to that one now. But yeah, I don't know. It would probably be better if a bunch of people were playing with me. So maybe I'll just go with whatever one people decide to adopt here in the next year or so. All right, let's keep going. Gamers thought China would save them with cheap RAM, but it's not that simple. This is from Zach Zweisen at Kotaku. For a few months now, many gamers had seemingly pinned their hopes on a company in China to help alleviate rising prices on RAM, resulting from the ongoing and worsening memory shortage fueled by AI hyperscalers and tech giants. But while new tests show the Chinese-developed RAM is good for gaming, it's unlikely to be the silver bullet many had hoped for. Over on the Reddit forum for PC gaming, which is PC Master Race, one of the largest PC gaming communities on the internet, people have been talking about Chinese tech company CXMT, with some hoping that the DRAM maker could help produce more consumer RAM, while the bigger players, like Samsung, pivot to supporting companies hungry for parts and memory to power future AI data centers. The idea being that while the big RAM makers focus on that, CXMT will be there for the little guys, aka PC gamers looking to upgrade their rigs without taking out a loan to do so. CXMT 32 gigabyte DDR4 RAM reportedly is selling for less than $150 online, and that caught the attention of a lot of gamers. Even though DDR4 is older and slower than DDR5, it represented a more affordable option, and results have shown that it performs pretty close to anything else that is equivalent and is often much more affordable. So that's the good news. The bad news is, in the last few weeks, CXMT RAM has also gone up in price, something noted by TechSpot and others. The company can't produce nearly as much as its biggest competitors, and it is likely raising prices as demand increases, shattering some gamers' hopes that CXMT would be the hero they hoped for in the ongoing memory shortage. So, I mean, just to put this like plainly, what has happened here, SK Hynix, Micron, and Samsung, their RAM has gone up a lot in cost, in price, because AI has been their focus, and all of that AI like memory, the high bandwidth memory, is being sold to them, and so they're putting all their focus on that, and their previous business of selling consumer RAM has been either ignored or like kind of completely taken off the table in the case of Micron. That demand, though, isn't just happening in the AI space. There was increased demand for traditional DDR5 memory and DDR4 memory even, and that is also causing the price to go up. And now, because these other providers are not meeting the demand, CXMT is getting more attention, which translates to more demand, which translates to higher costs. They also are not going to be able to scale up and be able to make a ton more like fabrication facilities to produce this stuff overnight. So that demand is not going to suddenly be met by supply because CXMT decides to do so. So cost will likely go up there as well. That doesn't mean that like this is going to be like a situation where they're going to be selling their memory for as much as these other companies, but it's not going to be some major discount. And like Zach said in the beginning of the story, not the silver bullet, right?
Yeah. Grubb, it's just it's not fun, but it is entertaining to see a lot of gamers and other tech people put their hopes overseas because they know that there is nothing for us over here, despite whatever governments, local governments here will say of like, no, we're gonna build facilities. Yeah, sure, okay, cool. Build the facilities, and we know that if you somehow manage to build those facilities, get the resources, train the people, we fucking know that you won't be serving the public or the consumer. You will just go straight back to the fucking Sam Altmans of the world.
Yep, and that includes CXMT. They have allocated 20% of their RAM capacity for producing RAM to AI, for selling it to AI companies. So, yeah.
Grubb, I think folks will, at this point, know that we are against the proliferation of AI, but for anyone out there that is still on the fence, fucking go touch grass. You have a fucking human life.
It's not worth this. Yeah.
It's not worth
anything
this.
It does. Like, even if you like it, it's not good enough to justify what is happening here. This is it's going to have this knock-on effect where people are going to just like leave gaming, and it's going to have a detrimental effect. Like, oh, you'll be able to make whatever game you want using AI. Good luck with that. Probably not. And even if you can, no one's going to care anymore because they'll just move on to other hobbies because it's going to get too expensive. You're still going to need a local machine of some sort to do this stuff. And you're going to have to pay $700 for a machine that has 4 gigabytes of RAM so I can access the RAM you have in the cloud. Fuck off.
And it's going to continue to try and kill other forms of entertainment. I saw a skeet of this dude saying, I raised $30K to make an AI movie. What should I make it on? It's because that dumb fuck doesn't have any original ideas.
Yes, that was so stupid.
Because, like, I'm going to rip my hair out, Grubb. Anyway, I say all this to say, fucking go use your fucking human body. Go fucking experience life. Don't have AI tell you what your grocery list should be. Go fucking eat. Go eat like a trash panda. Go get some crazy puffs.
Oh, definitely go get some crazy puffs.
Go make your own lewd art of Rouge the Bat, even if it's bad.
Or hire someone to do it.
Yeah.
Man, that guy was like $35,000. What should I be doing? I was thinking sci-fi. It's like, bitch, you haven't even decided the genre. What are you talking about? What do you mean sci-fi? But that's too obvious for like, you suck, dude. You suck so bad.
Go fall down some stairs. No one likes you. You don't have any friends.
Clearly. Oh man. Okay. Who gives him $35,000? The population of gamers, speaking of, is shrinking past pre-pandemic levels, according to industry reports. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. More games want more of your time than ever before. You've probably noticed. If they're not after your money, they're after your time. So you spend all the free hours you have grinding for that next battle pass level or limited time skin. It's a trend we're only likely to see increase as companies will be forced to make the most out of a shrinking gaming population. According to research by industry analyst Matthew Ball, gaming populations have been shrinking in major markets across the world. You'd expect that when comparing the figures to pandemic levels, as people had little else to do except for game during the COVID-19 lockdowns. However, we're getting to a stage now where the number of gamers is dropping below the numbers it saw prior to the height of the lockdowns in territories like the United States and Canada. Why is this? Well, it seems that video games are losing the war of our attention. We've talked about this a bunch. In the same period analyzed by Ball, we see that TikTok watch time increased by 50 million hours in the United States. Spending on OnlyFans also more than doubled in that same time frame. Good for all them. In layman's terms, gooning and scrolling is beating gaming these days, it seems. Okay.
Who wrote this?
Jan, this is Alex Hopley over at Game Reactor. Good for Alex.
Okay.
Yep. Just really making it so we can understand what's going on here. Speaking our language. Yeah, look, I think gaming's just stagnated, right? I think that's what's happened here. I think that like it's going below pre-pandemic levels. Well, we're still playing the games from pre-pandemic. It's still Fortnite, all these other things. Like Overwatch is one of the most exciting games right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think gaming is an industry, a medium that has thrived on innovation and novelty, and a lot of the people who are responsible for that are now in a position where taking chances on innovation and novelty is so prohibitively expensive that they're afraid that if they do that, their whole company will collapse and they'll lose their jobs and their stock price will tank and all this stuff. So yeah, I think the industry just kind of is in this weird point where it's like, hey, we're waiting for the next big thing that kind of wins people over, even if it's like the next Among Us or whatever. We haven't had one of those in a little bit of time, really since the pandemic. Like there hasn't been some new thing come along and win people over. All the things that are happening are still trends from that time, including like Arc Raiders delivering on the extraction concept that became popular kind of going into the pandemic and then during the pandemic. So that's the problem to me. Jan, am I missing anything?
No, Grubb, I think on top of that, there is like a level of passive consuming that has like quietly crept over and taken over a lot of people's attention spans since the pandemic, where, you know, video games, you do have to be a fair level of engaged. Even your miscellaneous gotcha games or your random clickers out there, like there is a level of engagement where you have your focus has to be tuned in, and maybe the only other thing you can do is listen to music, listen to a podcast, listen to an audiobook. Meanwhile, there are people out there that can't sit down anymore and focus on a video game. That's why short form videos are a big threat to companies. Specifically, Xbox has highlighted that as one of their primary forms of competition. How gaming battles that, I don't think there's an easy one-to-one to try and draw up, but I think just the current world where we live in, where people are just looking for quick distractions because the world is on fire, is just how it's going to be. And also, since we've exited the pandemic and people have returned to whatever normalcy we're at right now, they don't have the time. And prices are increasing across the board.
Yep, that's a big part of it.
And also, like, one of the big pandemic games that a lot of my friends got into that aren't normally into games is something like Animal Crossing. And I know that there are many alternatives out there. You know, we've talked about Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Disney Illusion Island. Is it Illusion Island?
I think so. Yeah.
That, and of course there is God, what's the game? Stardew Valley. But some people only want the brand name experience that comes with a new console. So they're just looking for, okay, well, what's the next Animal Crossing? They don't have one. I've done what I can with this island. I've terraformed it several times. All of my friends stopped playing. So I'm just now going
Dreamlight
to
Valley was what you're thinking
Dreamlight
of.
Valley.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah.
So a lot of those people that like don't play a competitive shooter like a Fortnite, even a Call of Duty Warzone, have since moved on because their Nintendo didn't strike while the iron was hot to kind of keep that audience around.
Yeah, I think yeah, and it's like, can Nintendo like invent a new one of those? Is Tomodachi Life going to be that? So, well, we'll see. It doesn't feel like that necessarily. It feels like I'll like it. It'll be for the audience that has shown up for it before, and maybe a slightly bigger audience than was on the 3DS game. But I still think like even Nintendo's not innovating like they once were, and all these other companies are just trying to like deliver on the hits because their stuff is so expensive now. They have to like play to that like that very specific audience. You know, Sony was asked, "Hey, are you going to increase the price of your console? Like RAM is going to force you into a situation where you're likely either losing money or at least breaking even on your console that's 6 years old. This is a time where you'd like to be making money on that." And Sony's response to that was, "We will make more money by basically extracting more value from people who are already buying, who already have our console and are already in our services. So they're going to find new ways to monetize us." Sony's been doing that for years now. That's how prices have gotten so high. That is why prices went up on PlayStation Plus and all this stuff. So their innovation continues to be focused, and this goes for I think most companies in the space, on the business model side of things and not on the gaming side of things. And it feels like we are overdue for that swing back in that direction. And maybe that is like one of these big companies does take on a friend slop idea and like delivers on that in a really big new way. But I don't know, something about the charm of friend slop is like no one's claiming for the really accessible friend slop game the way they were for maybe extraction shooters. Like, oh, when are we going to get the Call of Duty, the very easy extraction shooter? Well, they did that a bunch of times, and people were somewhat interested in that. But friend slop games, the whole idea is anyone could start playing those. So it's like even some of these trends are like maybe more at home on the indie side of things. So these big companies trying to justify their businesses aren't finding an easy way of like taking what is happening in the innovative spaces and putting their own spin on it.
Yeah, I feel like these AAA studios, Grubb, they're such in a weird deadlock position because they don't. It is too costly to make any type of drastic moves or adjustments to try and innovate. That they do have to play the waiting game. So they're potentially just losing out on other ideas. And also in the AAA space, they're also playing the waiting game, waiting for GTA 6 to come out. And I know it's become a long-running joke at this point that GTA 6 will save the industry. But how does that save the industry?
Yeah, I think it like will make the overall, the headline, the top line number look really strong. And then you'll go in there and be like, oh man, here's another news story about how Ubisoft is just completely falling apart. It will bring back many of those people who have lapsed as gamers, but it's not the solution to like the long-term solution. And really it's like, it's going to be another one of those platforms where they try to get you in there and here's a bunch of different like community created games inside of Grand Theft Auto 6. We're going to try to get you playing that way forever. And it's like, now that's most of these things now, Fortnite and Roblox. And I think that contributes greatly to that stagnation and is not the sort of thing that will break this trend that we're on. But last thing about this, we should move on. The solution isn't trying to like make games that feel more like TikTok, right? Like fast, quick hits, slot machine style feelings.
No, and like that ties into something I wanted to bring up where like UGC has kind of become unwieldy, Grubb, and it's become the Wild West out there because of how creators are taken advantage of, and audiences especially are taken advantage of I mean, we've seen it across Roblox. Who knows what GTA 6 is going to try and implement? But yeah, Grubb, it's it just makes me upsetty spaghetti.
Yep. It's continues to be a weird industry that's always changing, and now maybe especially weird because it's changing less in some ways than it ever has before. It's odd. All right, last thing here: the Duskblood adverts are also now appearing online. This is from My Nintendo News. Following on from the news yesterday that the Duskbloods has now popped up on the Nintendo eShop under the new releases section, and a Finnish retailer listed the game as a March 27th release date. That's certainly just a placeholder because that's in 5 friggin' weeks. Multiple adverts have appeared across the web, including on Reddit. This all seems to suggest that something is set to happen soon with that Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive from Software. Do you get the sense that something's going to happen soon? Because I was like, man, this game could just come out much later this year. But now, yeah, they're putting out advertisements. If they have commercials up on websites, maybe they are going to get ready to talk about this thing soon. At a direct, on their own, what do you think?
I feel like we had a story fairly recently where we were talking about how this may come out later in the year, or much later in the year than anyone would actually want. Cool. Yeah, I want to see Duskbloods. If we're getting adverts, I am assuming that the game is in a place where that From wants it to be. What it's going to necessarily look, if anything, Grubb, I am more interested to see what Duskbloods is. If it's going to be similar to Night Rain, or it's going to be an amalgamation of Bloodborne, Night Rain, and who knows what else, Animal Crossing, then I want to see it.
The latest seems to be, it's like, I think From Software games exist on a multiplayer spectrum where it's like they all have some form of multiplayer.
Yeah.
And then Night Rain was the one that's like, no, this is a game you're supposed to play multiplayer. And none of the other games have been that way. But I think this one might be a little bit more towards it's better multiplayer side, but I think it's still primarily going to be a game that you could play single player without really missing anything. But who knows? We'll find out more soon. All right, that does it for the headlines. Let's get to the poll question from yesterday. Excuse me. Let's do that real quick. I'm going to refresh and get the latest results here. All right, what do you want from the next Sonic? New Sonic 3D game, new Sonic 2D game. I want Sonic Frontiers personally. Wow, this is a split result here. 51% say Sonic 3D game and 49% say new Sonic 2D game. And I just voted for Sonic 3D game, so I'm sure I'm the 1% there that threw it off from being 50-50. I mean, I think this does show that Sega should continue doing both on a somewhat regular cadence, right?
Yeah, I personally, I don't know why I felt compelled to throw in a vote for the Sonic 3D game, but something just is calling me, Grubb. The story that y'all were talking about yesterday with Lex, it feels like a no-brainer to adapt the art style to replicate the movies, right? Like,
yeah, just be closer to it at least.
Yeah, I'm sure there are kids out there that will look at existing Sonic games and be like, Mom, Dad, why doesn't it look like the movies? Mm-hmm. Why doesn't it look like John Ralphio?
All right, let's see here. We'll have to come up with a new poll question, which I did not do before the show. We'll do that here in a second. First, let's talk about what's happening on Giant Bomb today and through the rest of the week. What do we have, Jan?
In an hour, that's right, folks. We've moved up the voicemail dump truck. It is now at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. We have a dear friend joining us on the dump truck today. Jesse Vitelli, a.k.a. Young Elmo, is joining us on the pod. And later today will be the live premiere of episode, maybe we should just call it episode 0 of Marry Me Tomodachi. That's right. Abby Russell is going to join us. We're going to make a bunch of little Tomodachi me's, have them roam across the island, and y'all will get to see more about what Marry Me Tomodachi is going to be like. Turns out we're going to have a winner, Grubb, and that winner will fall in love. And then,
like all great like romance game shows, absolutely.
Exactly. Tomorrow, another episode of Game Mess Mornings, and then we will have UPF of some sort. I thought we were going to do Overwatch there, but we did it for Delight Club, so who knows what we're going to do tomorrow. Who wants more Lord?
It's Lord Only Fridays is going to be a new initiative here at Giant Bomb, of course. Man, I wonder if the developers of Lord are aware of it's become a meme for us.
That being said, people should check out the Delight Club. Very fun surprises with Obey the Insect God yesterday, and some fun Overwatch games as well.
It is the best game about Sambos, which we said, and then the PR reached out and said, "Hey, can we use that quote on the Steam page?" And I was like, "You can do that.
Yes.
That is fantastic." All right, new poll question: what do you think about Xenoblade Chronicles X's $5 Switch 2 edition upgrade? We'll give you a bunch of options, like it should be free. I get it. As long as they keep doing it, whatever. We'll get all those up there for you to post and submit your feelings for this poll question that we'll get the results of on tomorrow's show here on Giant Bomb. Thank you, everybody. All right. Anything else, Jen? I don't think so.
No. We had a quick look for Reanimal go up over the weekend. More videos coming out soon, folks. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Jan, for spending today talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
It's the best way to start a Thursday, Grubb.
Thank you all for watching and listening. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.